Well, guys, we are back after a lot of people asked if we were ever going to come back, if we were just going to leave you guys until April. Well, we didn't do that last year, to be fair, and we're not going to do it this year. So we are back. Yankees Unloaded off-season edition. We got plenty of stuff to talk about because Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman had a presser. If you didn't know, they called it, what do they call it, Gary? The something post-mortem.
I don't know. Boone had a beard.
Yeah.
So
Boone looked out of whack, but we're going to get into it. Before we do, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to comment, be sure to share this with somebody that is a Yankee fan that you know that would enjoy this. And Gary, I got to be honest with you. And I know you're probably thinking the same thing. This was embarrassing. Embarrassing. It was an embarrassing presser. These dudes literally talked about a topic, a big topic. Anthony Volpe, who underwent left shoulder surgery on October 14th. And we literally just watched as Aaron Boone, and mind you, these guys are supposed to be on the same page, and they tell us they're always on the same page. Aaron Boone said the shoulder had nothing to do with the poor performance of Anthony Volpe.
that's what he said.
And on the flip side of that, the general manager, right, Brian Cashman, he's saying it did. That was such a poor look on this organization. I can't stress that enough. That was the one where I was like, okay, we're not wrong. We're just right. And the dude that's in charge of hiring and firing is just a moron. That's where we're at right now.
Oh, it's okay. It's exactly what every listener today or tomorrow, whenever you're listening to this show, it's exactly what isn't it exactly what you thought? Isn't this exactly what you thought was going to happen? They were going to show up, tell you that expectations for us are just as high as it is for you guys. Like, you guys have high expectations of us. We have those same high expectations. And they can say whatever they want. They can say whatever they want about Anthony Volpe. They can say whatever they want about any player's performance. They'll just simply say, we believe in that guy, and we're going to see it next year. We think it'll go better. And really what it leads you to, Jake, and this is because I always try to look at this down the road. People will tell you the only way that this is going to change is if you hit Hal Steinbrenner in the pockets, if you stop going to the games. And you and I have talked about this. You're not going to stage that to happen at all. Not in New York, you're not. And the Yankees have their business model, and here it is. We're going to go out there and win 90-plus games, which for most of the league, that's acceptable. Just winning 90 games, nothing has to happen after that. You can lose in the division series and get swept. You can go on to the championship series. You can make a World Series. All that's gravy. All that is after the fact. But in order for the Yankees to make the money that they make currently, they've got to really win 90 games. And that's what we do. We are a team, as A-Rod and Jeter both put it. So I don't want to take their words. I'm going to quote them. This team's built for 162, not for the postseason. And that's what we are. Their quotes directly reflect that. We're out of sync. Nobody's communicated. I'm honestly shocked by that. I thought they would have just shown up and said, we're going to read the same statement verbatim. But they showed up actually. One person tells us, oh yeah, Anthony Volpe, his performance wasn't affected at all by the labrum, partially torn labrum, which he obviously October 14th had operation on. And then the other shows up and says, oh yeah, it probably, after the fact, yeah, our initial scans, our scans before indicated that this was much more manageable than what it actually ended up being. He needed surgery. So now what's the narrative? The narrative is the Yankees are negligent, Jake. This Yankees organization didn't take care of Anthony Volpe, and they did a carbon copy of what they did with Anthony Rizzo with the concussion issue, and they had Volpe playing injured. So what are they going to say? He's going to fight for a job in 2026. He's going to show up, and guess what's going to happen the second he's healthy? He's going to be trotting right out there to shortstop. And Jake, it's very disappointed. I wanted to read the quote for those of you who didn't hear this interview, and I don't blame you if you didn't want to see it, if you already knew what Cashman would have to say about it. And for those of you who thought either of these two jabronis were going to be gone, well, they are not. Here's what Cashman had to say. He said, and I quote, "I think," and he's talking about Boone here, "I think he's a good manager. He's one of the better managers. If he's out there right now on the market, Indeed, he'd get a job rather quickly." Jake, we talked all year about this. We don't care at all how quickly he would get a job. It's a matter of what he does for you. Cashman says, because of our environment, he's someone that could be second-guessed 10 million times over. I don't care who you put in that. It would be the same with whoever else is in there, whoever else, what other manager you sign, apparently. The guarantee is always that we're going to be fighting for it. We're fighting for it now. There's our new quote. That's the one thing that the Steinbrenner family provides for this city. You guys should be so thankful. He's constantly having a team that you can put forth that you believe is capable of winning a championship. That's the job that we'll be doing once again next year. The championship caliber intent is always there. They should put that patch, end quote. They should put the patch on our shoulder that says championship caliber intent. That's what it should say.
Man, all right. Let's just digest everything slowly, okay? Anthony Volpe, going back to that, left shoulder surgery, October 14th, cannot swing a bat for 4 months, cannot dive on the shoulder for 6 months. I don't know why that was even mentioned, but...
Not sure.
Yeah. It was mentioned, so I figured...
Now we know all the details.
Yeah,
the
now
Yankees
we know
all the details.
The details. So, Anthony Volpe, if you felt like doing Soviet wrestle moves on your trampoline, you can't do it for 6 months.
Yeah.
Wild. He will begin the season on the IL, and he could return in April or May. Now, when asked if he is the starting shortstop for the Yankees when he returns, Aaron Boone said, quote, "Yeah, he's right in the mix to do that," end quote. All right, Gary, does that sound to you like somebody who's like, yeah, that I believe in that guy? Can you imagine if somebody went up to me and was like, "So Gary's your co-host, right?" He's like, "Yeah, he's in the mix to do that." Well, is he your co-host or not? Yeah.
Is someone getting the job? He's in the mix for it. That person's not getting that job. But I will say, to the defense of Cashman here, and I never defend him ever, so just take this with a grain of salt because I'm really not defending him.
That was Boone.
Oh, that was Boone. Here's what Cashman had to say about Spencer Jones. And I really feel like all of these statements are just blanket statements that are really intended to make us feel inferior and uninformed.
Yep.
Cashman said this about Spencer Jones and whether or not he's going to start, right? Be on the opening day roster, and he lit it up in AAA, lit it up in AA. And some of us, Jake, you were one of them, were saying, I would actually like to see Spencer Jones, all right, if Grisham found his way off the roster at the deadline. Here's what Cashman said. He said, he's put himself in the conversation, end quote. Put himself in the conversation. He'll be in the mix. One of the better managers out there. He'd be hired elsewhere.
Put himself in a position to be considered a potential... Hold on. Put himself in position to be considered a potential. So, anytime anyone in their right mind gives you a response in a conversation and says,
yes,
put himself, position, considered, potential, all in one, that person you don't think is very smart.
No, it basically is just telling you we're not going to show our hand. And we've already seen, I'm literally reading the live chat. Mm-hmm. And some folks are saying Spencer Jones could be, right, or players out there could be trade bait. Now, mind you, here's why people, Jake, are saying that. They're not really giving us any information. They're essentially just saying our assets are good. We think our assets are good enough to play, right? We go into the offseason. Do you remember what they said about Caleb Durbin? Do you remember what Jack Curry came out and said? If I was a betting man, Caleb Durbin is probably going to be the starting second baseman for the New York Yankees. And mind you, he is very tapped in. Yeah. That's what was said live on Yes Network. Now, again, I'm not criticizing the report. All we're simply telling you is that if you listen to the Yankees brass and people who cover this team, you really get no indication of what's going to happen at all. And I understand. I'm trying to come at this, Jake, from an understanding standpoint. I'm trying to. Is that why would they tell us what they're literally going to do in the offseason? But the frustrating part, I want to define it. Yankees fans are frustrated because this is more of a, we're not going to show our hand. We sound very conservative. We're going to be patient, right? And the Yankees have shown patience to the point where it's killed them.
Yes.
It's essentially eroded everything you thought the Yankees organization was 25 years ago. They are far removed from that. And if you watch their press conferences, their press conferences actually make you feel, really, if you were frustrated as a Yankees fan, this just almost, if you have watched this maybe for the first time, this would probably send you over the edge. But I think today's Yankees fans watch this and say, man, how stupid was I? Really believing that we were going into the offseason and this group was being audited. How dumb was I to believe this group is expected to win a championship, expected to go out and win? No, they hope to win, and their expectation is to have a fight in the race.
Now, in addition to the Spencer Jones thing, he said he deserves a look and the ability to compete for a job, but also depends on what they do this winter. Why do I feel like that was just kind of like, here you go, guys, enjoy, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, bon appetit, you bitch. Like, you know
that
what I
means
mean?
We could trade. It means, here's what that quote means. He could start. He could platoon with Dominguez. He could be traded.
That's all it means. Literally,
it means any of the three things that can happen. It can happen.
How stupid this man must look down on all of us like we are just absolute like servants and he's the master, because the way they word things is honestly
oh my God. I'm sitting here reading the quotes and again, William V, we really appreciate the super. We will get to that in just a second. I'll pop you up on screen. I want to read this quote because it is just absolutely blasphemous. And this is from Brian Cashman. It says, Brian Cashman on his conversation with Hal Steinbrenner after the Yankees elimination. And I quote, he's frustrated, disappointed. He wants a championship here for him and his family. No, he doesn't care. They believe many times that we had a chance to do something. And he knows opportunity lost for all of us. Cashman continues of what it takes to win a World Series. This is where it gets even funnier. We've done it. Hal Steinbrenner has done it, but it's not a guarantee that you're going to continually do it. All you can count on is putting together a strong process with really good people. Try to get as many quality players that care and are committed, can stay healthy, play to the best of their abilities, and keep trying to do again and again and again and again and again. It's really difficult to do. It's easy to talk, though. But for those guys in the competition, it's something that we aspire to do once again. Should anyone remind him? I guess he probably, I don't know if he was asked questions or if people were going to berate him at all in these, but I wonder if anyone was going to remind them. Is anyone aware in that room to ask a question? The Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009. 2009. And the way he's speaking in this interview, and I understand we already addressed it. He comes across oftentimes as condescending, like he's smarter than you. He's not smarter than really hardly anyone. But the reality here is that he's making it seem like the people in the room have a long history of success. That is incorrect, Jake. That's incorrect.
No, it's not correct at all.
What do you take away from him saying this type of stuff? Because when I look at this, I look at it and say, it sounds a lot like you're making winning a championship seem like just impossible to do. Like you can spend as much money as you want, you can build a roster, do everything, have the right people in the room, and you still don't have a great chance to win. And I'm going to read that Hal Steinbrenner quote, by the way, and after obviously you speak, Jake. But they make winning a championship sound next to impossible, and yet the Dodgers beat us in the World Series, and they're a game away from attending the World Series yet again. What do you take away from what was just said right there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the more I just realize, think about it. We gave Brian Cashman credit for working in the margins. We gave Brian Cashman credit for repairing his mess, right? Like we gave him credit for his trade deadline, but if you actually did your job and signed some bullpen guys, you wouldn't have had to trade for 4 of them,
Yes,
I'm kind of at the point where he's just kind of an elitist asshole. That's kind of who he is. And I don't think he's the smartest dude in the room, but I think he thinks he is the smartest dude in the room. And what bothers me is that he's gotten to the point where, let's be honest, you're in charge. You're the general manager of, if not the most, if one of the most recognized sports brands in the world. You're the general manager of, yes, sorry, people have expectations. Yes, sorry, people would like to see you go after Bryce Harper. They'd like to see you go after Corey Seager. They'd like to see you go after a Kyle Schwarber, a Kyle Tucker. Sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry that I'm asking for so much. Just, you're rich. Like, what? Why are we? That's the thing, is that the margins, yeah, that's great, right? The problem is when you look at Cashman, you look at what they have, what he has to work with. And people could say Hal Steinbrenner, he's still a part of this. He's no different. I don't care who's directly at fault. I just want it, this rectified, because I'm tired of watching this team go in and, if they did this, if only they, well, they didn't, right? And it's so funny to me because the difference between the Yankees and Dodgers, the Dodgers, like you mentioned, are actually favorites right now for Kyle Tucker, and they're going to the World Series without a doubt. Milwaukee has no chance coming back from 0-3.
No, it does. No, and we've seen people come back from 3-0. We've watched that happen before, right?
They're not that team.
But they're not that team, and they're also not playing the team they're playing.
Well.
No, so the Yankees make it seem like the dollar in spending the extra dollar is less impactful today, and I would agree to some degree, right? Mm-hmm. Is that a lot of what's going on is that we're going to make it less impactful for teams to sign these big free agents, right? We're going to make them pay the taxes. We're going to lose them draft picks. They're trying to do things to make the dollar not stretch as far. It just so happens, unfortunately, for you guys and for the Yankees brass, the team that we want you guys to emulate, who, by the way, still focuses hard on their farm system. The farm system, it's not farm system be damned. The Dodgers still develop players, right? They developed Cody Bellinger. Let's not forget how he got into the big leagues out the 5th round with the Dodgers, okay? They develop. But also having the understanding, we're not trying to just put a payroll at X amount of dollars. I really, Jake, couldn't care less how much money the Yankees spend. I don't. All I care about is if a player shows up into free agency, all you can ask for as a major market team, if you're the Mets, if you're the Yankees, you're the Dodgers, you're the Red Sox, you look at these teams and say, would that player and Alex Bregman, would that player and Kyle Tucker, would that player and Cody Bellinger, would that player be a perfect fit on our roster right now? Would he really help us to win a World Series? If the answer is yes, you should be going after him. And you shouldn't just be simply kicking the tires. You should go get those players. And whatever your payroll ends up being, Jake, it's what it ends up being. But the Yankees very clearly are going into the offseason. How's comfortable with Brian spending his money? And here, by the way, is a short quote. I really wanted to read this because
this is great.
A lot of people said that, I don't know if you, because I just popped this up on my screen. I'm not sure if you know what I'm going to read.
Oh, I know.
But Brian,
Dodger one, right?
No, actually. Oh, no. I will get to that one.
Okay.
I will get to the Dodger one because the Dodger one is funny. Here's what Brian has to say about the team, because for those of you who are here thinking the Yankees it's turned into a failure, right? That's our perspective, is that this isn't working. Now, Michael K will say, well, we're still won 94 games. They'll talk about what's worked. Here's what Brian had to say about the organization. He said, and I quote, "We've had success and failure. We had a good team but fell short of our ultimate goal, but I'll leave it for the masses to debate what ultimately came out of it. Proud of a lot of things we accomplished." Now, end quote. Derek Jeter used to go on late night shows and would just tell whoever he's talking to, yeah, if we don't win the World Series, it is simply a failure. I feel like the message would have landed plenty different if he had just simply said, we're going to play out the season and we hope to win the World Series. We absolutely want to win the World Series. But if we don't, I'm going to leave it up to the fans to determine whether or not it was a failure. I'll let them debate it. Very different quote. Very different mentality. And you would think Brian had nothing to do, was never around Derek Jeter, was never around George. That's what you would think. So obviously, I'm not sure, Jake, what your perspective is on this. I feel like this is just a lack of leadership and a lack of courage, and really just watching a man try to prove to us that he's smart, and it's not working, and it's really past the point of being funny. I thought it was funny probably about 2018, 2019, where you can say, look at this guy, he thinks he's smart, he's not, it's really failing, we're the laughingstock. But the reality is the Yankees aren't the laughingstock. The Yankees, Jake, in my opinion, are a machine. We're a team built to win regular season baseball games, built to sell tickets, built to sell jerseys, and built to lose early in the postseason unless you run into Kansas City and Cleveland, into which we obviously didn't this year. We ran into the Jays, and we left early. I think we're built to give them a bottom line, and obviously not many people covering this team are willing to say that.
Yeah, this is how I would describe this organization. I know a lot of people tend to gravitate towards, and we've talked about it, the Yankees and Cowboys, right? They're very similar. And while I have issues with the Cowboys, they have actually paid their players. They are spending money. They're like the Bengals, who are actually playing right now. They're like the Bengals. Mike Brown has one mission. It's not to win a Super Bowl. It's to make a profit. Everyone knows it. So they're the Bengals. That's who they are. And unfortunately, it's basically, this is what happens when you get comfortable, Gary. This is what happens when you get too comfortable at your job. Brian Cashman has been quiet quitting since he won the World Series. That's what's happened. He's gotten so comfortable.
I was a freshman in high school, Jake.
He knows he's so comfortable. I was 14, Gary, last time they won the World Series. He's gotten so comfortable, he knows he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't. Because Hal and him are buddies. Hal's not going to fire him. And then Aaron Boone is just going to take the fall if it ever gets bad enough, but it never gets bad enough because Hal doesn't care that much.
You can say, though, that Brian Cashman, in order to just not make all of it negative, one thing you can say about Brian Cashman, here's one thing that he's done that other GMs of high payroll teams really will do. Here's the one thing he's avoided. He's avoided putting all his eggs in one basket. He's found a way to minimize. Yeah. Right. He has found a way to minimize risk. Take a look at the New York Mets, right? The New York Mets spent more money than we did this year. Just spend more money. But when one thing goes wrong, they spent a ton of money on Manaea, right? They're not mitigating risk. They're not trying to slow that down. They're not trying to slow that roll. What ended up happening is you look at it and say if one or two guys fall down, they have no way to get themselves up. The Yankees, on the other hand, find ways to sprinkle money around. And a lot of times they'll be overpaying players that will be platooning. They'll give Ryan McMahon $16 million. All of this is designed because people will say this is a bad signing. Jake, you called it a bad signing. The signing really is meant to raise the floor. That's what the Yankees do. Everything that the Yankees do is to raise the floor. It's not to put to...
That is somebody that is just way too comfortable, though. Because
you're absolutely comfortable. Yeah.
You're telling me you can just be like... I mean, think about this. Other teams would be so hyped to get DJ LeMahieu off their books. He's at the end of his contract. He's at the end of his career. That's great. So what did Brian Cashman do? They didn't even wait 2 months to replace DJ LeMahieu's contract with another $15, $16 million deal at third base.
That's right.
They didn't even wait 2 months to do it.
And they were freaking out about Marcus Stroman and his 8. Remember, guys, they said, oh, if we could just get Marcus Stroman off the books, who was making, by the way, $18.5 million this year, if we could just get him off the books, they tried to trade him since last winter meetings. They've been trying to get rid of him that whole time. If we could just get rid of that contract, this is what they're saying. We could go out there and free ourselves up for these other moves. Guys, tell me a single way that they went and spent that money wisely. They didn't.
No,
and
of course
not. It's very sad. And by the way, I don't want them to wait any longer, Jake. I've got to read this quote because this was sent to me on Twitter. I screenshot it, so I'm not sure exactly who sent it to me. But here's what Hal Steinbrenner had to say about the Dodgers spending. This was back in January of 2025, just for clarification. Hal says, and I quote, "It's difficult for most of us owners to be able to do the kind of things that they're doing. We'll see if it pays off. We'll see. They still have to. They have a season. Oh, they have to have a season relatively injury-free for it to work out for them." Okay, so let's end quote. Hal said that the Dodgers essentially, and this is to prove and wrap a bow on it, Brian Cashman's here to minimize risk. Here's to prove it. Hal just said that. Hal's saying they have Mookie Betts on a $300+ million contract. They signed Freddie Freeman, right? $100 and some million over the course of 6-7 seasons. They went out and got Teoscar Hernandez. They went and gave $700 million to Shohei Ohtani. They went and signed Blake Snell. They went and signed Tyler Glasnow from the Tampa Bay Rays, made that trade and gave him an extension, paying him $20+ million a year. They went out and signed a big-time closer. There's a ton of risk and volatility with that roster. That group better stay healthy because they spent all that top dollar on a bunch of, on one player here, one player there. It's a ton of risk. Yamamoto, $330 million. Hey, Jake, was Blake Snell healthy this year?
No.
Was Tyler Glasnow healthy this year?
Nope.
Was their closer healthy or good this year?
No, absolutely
What about
not.
Gratterall? What about 2 or 3 guys out there, bullpen, all down with injuries, right? Was Conforto good? They gave him big money for a 1-year deal. Did that work out?
No, that was horrible.
It didn't, did it? What's the series again with what we
3-0.
called the best team in the National League at the time?
3-0.
They're up 3-0 in the National League Championship Series, and they missed the majority of the rotation. By the way, did Sasaki win Rookie of the Year? Did he have a career year?
No.
No, actually, he's closing games for them, replacing how bad their closer was. Guys, spending money is about winning. Stop making it seem risky. It's not that risky. It's not. Because when other people spend money and other owners spend their money, it's considered buying championships. But when we try to if you want to go get a Cody Bellinger and a Kyle Tucker, the way it's seen now and sold to the fans is that you're raising risk. You're raising the risk that your roster is going to look like the way the Yankees roster looks like now, where there's a bunch of DHs. They want to put fear into all of you. And just know, the most likely scenario here to pan out is that the Los Angeles Dodgers, who Hal Steinbrenner just, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, said they have a ton of risk, are more than likely, not a guarantee, it's baseball, to win back-to-back world championships and then be the leader in the clubhouse for Kyle Tucker. Never buy anything Hal Steinbrenner tells you, ever.
No. And just to add to that, Aaron Judge is not going to require right elbow surgery. He's going to take time off and continue to do some strengthening things and rehab stuff, according to Aaron Boone. Carlos
great
Rodon.
News.
Oh, yeah, that is great news. Unless they're hiding something bigger, which it's the Yankees, so who knows?
They may.
Carlos Rodon underwent a procedure to remove loose bone spurs, shave down a bone spur in the pitching elbow. He's not going to throw for 8 weeks and will be delayed potentially a couple weeks to begin the season. Garrett Cole, scheduled to continue throwing lightly throughout the offseason, will not be ready for opening day, but initial estimates have him painted for May. And Clark Schmidt, I believe that's the last thing here, expected to begin throwing program in mid-December, could return second half of 2026. Now, Clark Schmidt, once again, is setting himself up to potentially be a hero down the stretch because there's always injuries in baseball. And if he's going to be ready in the second half, now you know he'll be ready in the second half. So, I mean, let's start off by wondering this. Cole's not ready to start the season. Rodon's not ready. And Clark's not ready. So your rotation is Fried, Schlittler, Warren, Heel, ERC, I believe. I think Elmer Rodriguez-Cruz is going to earn that job, and I think Elmer Rodriguez-Cruz is going to earn the job over Will Warren. Now the question is, and this is also interesting because they go from having a surplus now, Gary, to because of all their injuries, they might not be able to trade guys in the winter, depending on how they look at it. So
it puts the value on a Will Warren just simply existing because Will Warren is more than likely, we expect him to develop even further, but it's not a guarantee. He could simply be a 5. And that's okay if you no longer have a surplus. Very similar to what you saw out of Marcus Stroman. If we didn't have a battered and injured rotation at the start of this past season, Marcus Stroman would have been DFA at the beginning of the year. But he wasn't, right? And he pitched pretty well there for a very short period of time, but we needed him and he suddenly became necessary, right? There was no longer a Nestor Cortez. We just dealt him to Milwaukee. We couldn't rely on anybody to simply give us innings. So that could really hurt because there are a lot of people in our comments who said the Yankees have Cole. They've got Fried. They've got Rodon. They've got all these different guys. They've got an ERC. They've got Cam Schlittler, who's now a pencil in the rotation. They've got a surplus. So now we could be so aggressive. We can go fill out shortstop, maybe fill out corner infield, third base, first base. You can go fill out these positions. Well, hold your horses when there's all these injuries going on. So I still am probably not going to be, I'm not going to lose any sleep if we give up some of that surplus or maybe some starts from Will Warren if we're going to go upgrade in that room, but it's not as comfortable as you'd like it to be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. William V has been burning into your OLEDs at home. Thank you, William, for the 5. Ever since I saw Volpe hold his shoulder in that play, I wondered. Now he has surgery. I don't know what to think. No words. I will tell you right now, Yankees Unloaded was on top of this from the get-go. We were like, there's something off. There has to be something off. And it is the Yankees. I mean, they put Clay Holmes on IL, and when they asked Clay Holmes what was wrong with him, he just laughed. Like, that's the organization that we're talking about here. It's not really professional, if you think about it. So, yeah, to put Anthony Volpe out there, you keep telling us how great he is, and then you're just like, yeah, he's so great that we're going to risk everything about him and potentially screw up his shoulder and have long-term permanent damage to it by just playing him through it when he's not even playing well to begin with. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just personally feel like that was absolute organizational malpractice, and Volpe, I mean, I don't know how good Volpe is, truthfully. I don't think he's that good, but I do feel like there's no way he's as bad as he looked last year when fully healthy.
I'm going to agree with you. I don't think Volpe was as bad if he was healthy as he was this year. Having said that, and I want to make this as clear as possible so nobody can take me out of context, Anthony Volpe is not good enough to be anything other than a backup shortstop for the Yankees. And what I mean by backup shortstop is not that he plays every 3 days. That means you play once every 2 to 3 weeks. You are going to be sitting down next to coach. And if the shortstop needs a day, and it should be a better player than Jose Caballero, by the way, I will add. It should be. You have a player like an Anthony Volpe, go out there, and the only ask you have is for him to play quality defense. That's what my expectation is of a backup shortstop. Not to hit 20 homers, none of those things. I need you to field your position, and the one thing Volpe did pre-injury was field his position, so I'll give him that, but I'm not going to sit up here and make excuses for him. Jersey Girl with the 5, says the golden boy Anthony Volpe apparently has an unlimited leash. Thoughts on Susan Weldman's article? I didn't see that article. 2026 gonna be SSDY. Strap in and brace for impact. What did Susan say in her article? Did you see that?
I didn't. That's actually interesting.
Could you expand on that, Jersey Girl, in the live chat? You don't need to super chat again for it.
Okay, so she appeared on WFAN.
I saw that.
And she said basically that she was implying Aaron Boone and the front office have given Anthony Volpe an unlimited leash or an undeservedly long period of unconditional support. Yeah, that's kind of all I have here. But yeah, I'll be honest. Anthony Volpe hasn't done enough to be a starter. These guys haven't done enough to be general manager and manager. So obviously all three of those will probably end up happening. Yeah, I mean, Anthony Volpe, the only saving grace that you have if you're an Anthony Volpe fan is, yes, he was clearly injured last year. Aaron Boone doesn't have an idea of what he's talking about. And really, he's got to stop, because even if he believes that, he looks like an idiot. Because your general manager doesn't believe that.
Yeah, no, complete moron. By the way, I do see this in our live chat from Apex, a mod of ours. Thank you for dropping this in, Jake. I don't know if you saw this quote. This is just...
I did not.
So, Brian Cashman respond. Now, Derek Jeter essentially said, some of these moves, that can't be coming from... That can't be coming from Boone. That could be coming from the front office. Now, here's what Derek Jeter's really saying. He's not saying that Brian Cashman says, hey, put Volpe in the game, in the middle. It's not how it goes. But really more so of what Michael Kay said. It's a collaboration. These guys all sit in the room and they come up with a plan. How are we going to go about this? And Boone has the final say. If he wants to override something in real time, he can do that. But he doesn't want to, because he's in that room and they come to an agreement. They want to do what ends up being the decision.
Man, at that point,
you talking about Boone?
Yes.
I don't believe he's a yes man. What I believe Boone is just an extension of that room. I don't think he gets the job if he didn't agree with what those jabronis are telling him. That's what I think's happening. So I hear what you're saying, that you think that Boone maybe got this job because he's like, yeah, I'll let them make the decisions. But here's what Brian Cashman had to say, because he really tried to defend himself in this whole organization. He said, and I quote, "It's our job to put together the talent and provide the team. It's their job to decide the lineups, who to put in the rotation, who is coming in from the pen, etc." So really saying, I build this roster, right? So you can complain about the roster. I do that.
Sounds like he's playing the blame game, and this is the guy you want to be your general manager?
They make all the decisions, right?
Yeah,
they make all the decisions. And I'm here to tell you right now, I don't buy it. I don't buy. I definitely don't
for
think
one
Boone.
sec.
Go ahead.
Let's say he helps. They make the decisions, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The fact he's coming out like that, one, see, this is the problem overall. The Volpe thing. Oh, he's hurt, but or it doesn't affect him. Okay, Boone, I don't know if you realize, but if it doesn't affect him, if you're saying the injury doesn't affect him, then you're actually admitting that Volpe's just not that good.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying.
That was your cop-out. You're obsessed with him. You're doing more harm than good by saying, yeah, he's not being affected by the injury. Basically, it just sucks. That's what you're telling us. That's first thing. The second crazy, contradictory thing is this idea that Brian Cashman will just throw Boone under the bus, and then Boone is back the next year. And honestly, they laugh in our face like, oh, you really thought Boone was going to be gone? Like, if that is the case, if you're like, that is not my job. Like, that's what I heard from that quote.
He's basically saying, hey, Derek, you saw a clear mistake, right? That's what he saw.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Jeter located. I don't know how they possibly made that mistake. That mistake could not have come from him. It had to be from those guys. He's like, nope, it was him. That's what you did. There was no reason to come out there and even comment. There's no reason to come out there and comment on it. And it just goes to show you that These guys aren't on the same page. It's just
No.
not a quality. It's not a quality room. Ninja hot dog with the 2. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is this. I guarantee you, when you look at the way Derek Jeter and A-Rod talk about the Yankees, right? I guarantee you Brian Cashman is not in the best relationships with these guys. And I think that it's because of that. We've seen some old-time Yankee guys not show up at Old Timers Day. We've seen guys that used to be close to the organization not as close. I guarantee you the day Brian Cashman's gone, we're going to hear everything under the sun, and we're going to see more Yankees want to commit to this team, be around this team, and talk about this team in a positive light. I guarantee you, because it just never felt like like Derek Jeter, being Derek Jeter, you would expect him to have like the respect and everything. He didn't get it when he was playing from Brian Cashman. He's obviously not going to get it now.
Hey, don't be public with my contract. The one thing I ask you, I mean, I'm Derek Jeter. He's not going to say this, but he's Derek Jeter. He doesn't want this whole public, just what you saw from Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, he's going to take top dollar and go to the Giants. It doesn't look good in the moment. Derek Jeter didn't want that. And it was the one ask. He said, keep it behind closed doors. We'll get it done. I want to be back. You want me back. We'll figure it out. What did they do? Let's go public on purpose. It makes Derek look like the enemy, and it brings him closer to the center of the table. It was exactly the play that they went. It was exactly what he asked them not to do. He coached them not to do it. It's a joke, and it's the reason why there aren't any former players who speak. You probably maybe CC Sabathia. He might be the only player out there who will actually speak positive light in this direction. But you look at our former players and what the majority of the room have to say, it's not anything good. It's just not. It's not. And it's definitely
GMs
a shame.
Are like this, and not all. Yeah, this isn't the standard. This isn't the default. Okay, clearly he pisses people off. He rubs people the wrong way, and if it's one person or two people, okay, like anything can happen. When it's all these people, now you got something there. So. Yeah, I'm honestly just kind of over these two, to be honest with you. I think I'm over Cashman more than I am Boone, because Cashman's been around a long time, and I know Boone's, at the end of the day, he's probably just a figurehead. I mean, they're just going to bring in another dude like him, because that's the thing, okay? I don't trust Hal. I don't trust Cashman. I don't trust Boone, but I trust Boone more than the other two. So how can I trust them if they fire Boone to bring in a Don Mattingly, to bring in a Buck Showalter, to bring in a Jorge Posada? No, they would bring in another Aaron Boone, and probably even worse than Boone. And remember, people forget, Boone was on, ESPN, and he was talking about all these analytics before he got hired.
Oh, that's what Susan was talking about. Did you see that? Susan was saying that. She's like, he's been going on, and people were looking at him going, what the hell are you talking about? And you're talking about trust is really what you're getting into there, Jake. Trust. If we cut that arm off, what grows back? It's just going to be another thing that Brian Cashman, makes the decision. Brian Cashman's a problem. And then guess what? Sort of the question we asked Jabba Chamberlain earlier this year in our interview, and he said, I don't even think it stops at Cashman. It goes above that.
No, it's
now you're talking
Hal.
About Hal Steinbrenner is the head of the snake, and his mentality is what you heard vomited out the mouth of Brian Cashman today. Anything you hear from Boone is going to be vomited out, and it reflects all the way up top. And it obviously sucks, and other organizations and their fans are probably going to look at this and say, man, it would be nice if our baseline regular season, I'm going to watch from March to late September into early October. We're going to win 93, anywhere from 90 to 95 games. We're going to be an easy out in October, but we'll make it 4 or 5 game series in the division series, and we'll go home. I would take that over my 83 win season, and I say touche. But those aren't our expectations. This isn't a winner's mentality. In every year we watch the Dodgers, and I'm not saying this from a jealous standpoint. Honestly, the Yankees should look at the Dodgers as an example of how things should be run and as an example of how things should change. I honestly, it doesn't bother me a lick. I think they deserve to go where they're going. They're the aggressive team out there, and I commended the Padres for being aggressive, going out and getting Mason Miller, trying to set this, actually go out and set the tone to be a win-now franchise. This doesn't smell like a win-now situation at all to me, Jake. Ninja Hot Dog also burning in our screen with the 2. Says for Cashman, the World Series is the AL wildcard race. No, Ninja, the World Series for the Yankees is getting through the wild card. Once you get through the wild card, we're now a official playoff team. That's all they need. And that's what we saw. It's a crapshoot from there.
You know?
It is officially a crapshoot. So Ninja, it sucks that that's how we have to tell you, because then you move it to fans saying, what do we do to change this? I promise you guys, there is nothing you're doing that's going to change this. The only thing that's going to change this is just time going on and eventually pressure boiling over. But as long as the Yankees are winning regular season baseball games, I highly doubt there'll ever be enough pressure for this group to make decisions to move like the old Yankees.
Is it like a World Series isn't as prestigious as a Super Bowl? Like, why does it feel that way? Because like regular season games matter way more in the NFL than they do in baseball, and I don't understand why. I understand they have more, but
Right.
even just one regular season game at the end of the year, they don't view it the same way. They don't view it the same way, and there's a lack of urgency. Yeah, I don't know, man. It feels like obviously the World Series is very important and everything, but they just don't look at it like to say a crapshoot like the playoffs. Like I just don't feel like we're being realistic here. We're not thinking logically.
I mean, I would say when you're talking about a 162 game season, right? What really matters to these GMs, some GMs, not all of them, I won't speak for all of them.
Yeah.
What matters the most is when I turn on my TV Thursday night in July, like I guess who's going to be on ESPN coverage? Oh, they won the game. It really is about who you are on a day-to-day basis. And the Yankees really, I mean, you look at the attendance, the Dodgers were number one in baseball. The Yankees are right up there. Right up there. Jersey sales, concessions, and I'm not rooting against any of this. I want everyone to make money. I do. But I want you to be a shepherd of what it like. Pay attention to what you're taking care of. And if you see how much people care about this organization, I mean, Jake, we don't have the youngest crowd in the world. There are people who have been fans of this team over 50 years in our audience, and they're waiting to see someone move with some urgency. And for somebody to just be like, well, we'll just give it a crack at it and be in the mix next year, there's no urgency to those statements. It's honestly appalling. It is. And it should be practically offensive to this group. And it's just, there's not really any control that we have. We can just stand there and watch. But Jersey Girl with the 5 says the jet stream of bullshit and nonsense that emanates from Aaron Boone's mouth is truly a sight to behold. Yeah, Jersey Girl, again, thank you for the support of our channel. I know Jake as well. I would agree with you, Jake. I really like the sentiment that you had. My problem right now, I would say enemy number one should be Brian Cashman. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I think if they fired Aaron Boone tomorrow, they talk about him getting a job the next day. I don't care about that per se. I really don't.
I don't care.
Couldn't care less about that. What we care about is the room. How do we change the flavor of the room? You're going to have to change all the ingredients, and the best way to do that is to take out the main ingredient, and that is Brian Cashman. It just
when
is.
You're ready to move off of somebody, do you care where they're going?
I have never. Have you?
No. I see. This is the thing. This is the problem. I know a lot of people like to throw out Aaron Boone fired, all of that. There are a lot of content creators that use that for clickbait.
Yeah.
We waited a while. And then finally we're like, all right. Like I'm done. Like I'm just kind of like, okay, he's here, I get it, but like I'm not invested in him at all. I'm going to give him credit where credit's due, and I'm going to discredit him when I feel like he needs that. But he's lost me. Like I'm not even, oh yeah, Aaron Boone's a nice guy, I want to like Boone. I don't care. I literally do not care. It's a blank slate for me in that I don't have emotions about Aaron Boone. Like he's not going to get fired, and I know that. I saw earlier today, I forget which reporter, it sure sounds like Aaron Boone will just leave when he wants to leave. Are you kidding me? Like, That I didn't need to read that, but I guess my point here is think about it in terms of a trade, right? If I'm ready to move off of a player to get another player, why do I care that the other team's going to get him? Okay. Great example of this. I like Narvaez. They traded him to the damn Red Sox.
Yep.
Okay. You have Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. He was the hottest pitcher in the minor leagues this past year. Do I care? Do I even think about Narvaez? No, I don't. I don't think about Narvaez. They were willing to move off him and get Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, and ERC looked great. So I guess really what I'm getting at is when you get to that point where you're ready to move off somebody, and that's just a trade. When you get to the point you're ready to fire somebody, who cares where he ends up? Who cares if he goes to the Milwaukee Brewers and ends up leading them to the promised land? Who cares what he does? Because you've gotten to the point where you're firing him. You've gotten to the point where you're ready for him to be anywhere else other than the building that he's currently in.
I wonder how much sleep they lost when Jordan Montgomery took off to the Texas Rangers and led them. And I know he wasn't the catalyst for it, but he was in the room and pitched games in the World Series. He put a ring on his finger. Are they supposed to lose sleep over that? No. As the Yankees, when you make a decision, we're going to trade an asset and acquire another asset. We're going to fire a manager. We're going to hire a manager. We're going to get rid of a GM. We're going to hire a GM. The only thing you should care about is who you're hiring, who you're acquiring, who's walking through the door. Those guys need to help you accomplish your goals. You don't need to look in the rearview mirror and say, oh, well, I guess if we really hung on to Michael King, then it could have went this direction. And if we played Trent Grisham and this, guys, they're no longer on your team. You shouldn't worry about it. If Boone is not going to be the guy for the job, don't worry if he goes to San Diego. I saw that Schilt, he retired for the San Diego Padres.
I know. If he wants to go to San Diego, by all means.
Does it really worry you? The only reason you should fire Boone is if you make the decision you locate another manager you think could do a good enough job or a better job. And Cashman came out today and said, no matter who we put in there, it would go on similarly. It would have gone the same way. Oh, okay.
I saw somebody say, the problem is firing Boone and Cashman, they're going to be upset, and they can share your secrets with everybody else. Good.
Oh,
good.
Tell them.
That means that you're telling me we'd have to change everything.
Wait, our secrets? Where have our secrets gotten us? What secret? What secret do we have? What
the MIT
formula?
room with the analytics? Those secrets? How about the analytics that make Volpe look like a good fielder even when he's not a good fielder?
I would love to know what behind the scenes metric they think that Cashman or anybody let's not even circle Cashman, the whole room. What are they going to do outside of Matt Blake? What's the group going to go spoil for us? We haven't won in 16 years. I'm not worried about that. Just bring in the right guys for the room. So Jersey Girl, again, thank you for the super. And Scott Ross with the 2. Thank you, Scott. Says Cashman hit A-Rod and Jeter on WFan today. So I wanted to read. I'm sure you saw it, Jake. But Cashman appeared on WFan, right? And they asked him about what Derek said. And here's what he said. Cashman says they clearly don't know in A-Rod and Jeter. I know DJ said that calls were coming from the front office that couldn't be him, right? I don't know what he meant by it. He said that they don't have insider information, but he said it. But he did say it for whatever reason. And I think that's the bugaboo, that people get to throw that out there when they got nothing else to throw.
What I find so funny about that comment is he says it so confidently. I know they have no inside information. Oh, you know? So you're telling me one of the most beloved Yankees ever can't get any information on you guys? Are you serious? He has so much money, he could hire somebody to get the information from you.
Why didn't he comment back to Clint Frazier, by the way? Anyone got any comment on that? He didn't say anything, by the way, about Clint Frazier. Didn't say a word. Clint Frazier was in the room with him.
Yeah, but Clint Frazier isn't a big enough name like Derek Jeter, so he had to address Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter said it on a this is another thing that I noticed a guy of, let's just say, a guy like Cashman would do.
Mm-hmm.
These are old school guys. So these guys are only going to address the old school. They're going to address print media. They're going to address things that are on TV. They're going to address things that are on the radio. They're not going to address YouTube. They're not going to address Twitter, right? That's just the way it is. They don't look at it. So Derek Jeter, had he tweeted this out, Cashman would have even thought about it, right? You probably wouldn't have even known. Same with A-Rod. Because they were talking about this on Fox, everybody saw it. It was on cable. So now all of a sudden he has to talk about it. It doesn't matter how big Clint Frazier's YouTube gets. He's not going to address it. He's only going to address print media. That's just how it works. That's how a lot of those guys are. Unfortunately, we don't make quite the dent that they find out what we say, but they don't want to give us the credit.
I get the nature of it, right?
Yeah.
If we are on national TV, then you're forced to deal with it.
Yeah.
But I will say, I promise you he's aware of what Clint Frazier said. And Clint Frazier's right. I promise you he's right. Is that it's not necessarily up to Boone exactly what happens. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a collaboration. It's exactly what he said. It's not like he came out and said anything we didn't really think already. But Derek Jeter, I promise you, has people in the room. I guarantee you. It's just complete nonsense.
So
Act like Derek
stupid.
Jeter is
Why
just...
would you even admit to thinking like that? Why would you even admit to thinking that Derek Jeter doesn't have freaking eyes and ears in the room? It's just so stupid. Like,
It is.
Gary,
It's very dumb.
Gary, you know how easy it is to get sources? Derek Jeter...
It's not hard.
Like, it's not hard to get sources if you're not Derek Jeter. You could just know a guy who works for the team. You could just know a guy who knows a guy that works for the team. You could just happen to know a guy that is pretty deep into the team, right? You could just... I don't know. There are ways. Derek Jeter is, if not the most beloved Yankee, he's up there. It would not take him much effort at all to be like, hey, just poking around, what can you give me on Cashman? He could find out pretty quickly. Same thing with A-Rod. Now, A-Rod's a little bit different because, like you've mentioned before, he sued the team. But still, like, I'm sure he could still find out information. Any
Easily.
former Yankee has some sort of relationship to somebody in the organization where they could get some information. It's ridiculous to assume they don't. And it just goes to show you that Brian Cashman lives in his own little world where he is like I said, he's an elitist. I mean, he feels like he's better than everyone else. And the way he talks about Derek Jeter and A-Rod, like, the clapping back, you can tell there's just not respect there.
They treat Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter, Brian Cashman does at least, they treat them like they're like the former quarterback on a high school football team that just like showed up with their Letterman jacket on. They're like, oh yeah, those has-beens. It's like, dude, that's Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez. You've done nothing without their presence. So
bad.
You need to be aware of who you're talking to and also understand who's speaking. And the fact that those two are speaking, just know they've got information. They do. Could they technically take advantage of being it? What did he say?
Posada and Randolph and all those guys were at All-Timers Day, and they're like, yeah, it's not good enough. We have to be better. Like, every one of those guys was going in on the Yankees, going in. At some point or another, you kind of have to point the finger at the hierarchy. And it starts with Hal, goes down to Cashman, goes down to Boone, but, I'm over it. And let's see, if Dodgers repeat, make strike/cap more likely. I wouldn't say that. Okay. Can I give you my take on the strike and salary cap thing?
Yeah.
I think it's victim mentality for a bunch of owners that are basically faking how they feel. These owners don't want to spend money. We've talked about this. Bob Nutting of the Pittsburgh Pirates does not want to spend money. They are basically carried by the other organizations.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see drastic measures taken where they're forced to spend X amount of dollars. And the way I see it is this. So in the NFL, you can actually re-roll your salary cap to the next year, but you can't re-roll all of it. You have to spend X amount of dollars.
Right.
There needs to be a salary cap floor where they have to spend, or payroll floor where they have to spend X amount of dollars, because it has gotten ridiculous. Gary, how much do you think the Pirates spend? What was their 2025 payroll?
How much money do I think they would have spent? I would probably guess somewhere in the 45 million range, 50 million. I would say 45 million.
So their total, the active tax was 51.7 million.
Oh, it's close. Okay.
That is preposterous. That's terrible.
That's Garrett Cole and Marcus Stroman.
What about 63.9 million the year prior? What about this year? They have an active tax. So the projected tax base is 162 million. Their active tax is 28.7. Are we kidding ourselves?
The biggest problem in baseball is that most teams are owned by billionaires, if not all of them. And they're pretending like they're poor so that you can feel sorry for them and feel like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets are beating up on all the small guys.
Oh, I feel sorry, but for the fans, not the
Yes,
owners.
of course. And they're going to pretend like they're poor so that eventually they can come up with a salary cap. And in turn of coming out with a salary cap, that salary cap probably looks something like $275 million. Then you're going to see teams like the Mets, teams like the Yankees, and some of these teams are going to be happy about it, like the Yankees, for example. And the conversations of they need to spend more money, they need to spend more money. Guess what happens to all those conversations? They don't happen anymore. You know why? No. You're going to blame the GM and not Hal. It's perfect for the owner. Perfect situation. Because it's not my fault. It's his. He's the one spending the money. Where you're berating me, Hal Steinbrenner, you're bothering me. Go get Kyle Tucker. Go get Bellinger on top of it. Go get these guys. Try to trade for Skeens. Try to make all these aggressive moves. You're telling me that because there's no cap. But if a cap exists on a ceiling, you'll never bother me again. That's why teams like the Yankees will sit around and be like, we don't want to spend a ton, because guess what? If they go out there and say, let's go out there and spend a ton, they spend $30 extra million coming into this offseason, they go win, guess what you're going to ask for again? Same thing. Same thing. The same thing. And you have new expectations. They want that salary floor. They want a salary cap. The only thing that should be happening, as you said, Jake, I thought you said it beautifully, there needs to be a floor to how little money these teams can spend. It probably looks something like $100 million, and I would love to see that happen. We saw the A's try to go out there. They spent some money. Severino, we saw some deals going outbound. That was good to see, but we need more of it. We do.
Yeah, and the A's still only spent $78 million in total payroll. By the way, the Yankees had, at the end of the season, $198 million payroll for active 26-man. So it kind of goes to show you, yeah, like Dodgers were 268. I mean, the Yankees losing Garrett Cole was significant. But here's where I'm at on the floor, okay? If half the league, not even half the league, more than half the league is spending at least $150 million a year, how is that not the floor? If you can't spend $150 million, you're not serious about being an owner, and you shouldn't be one.
It'd be a great day to be a Pirates fan. What a great day that would be. Can you imagine if they made the floor even $125 million?
Yeah.
You're going to go into the winter knowing we're landing some of these free agents. We're going to.
I don't believe there should be a cap. I don't. But I do believe there should be a floor. If there is a cap, then make it $400 million. There you go.
Yeah, just so Elon Musk can't show up and buy a team and have Kyle Tucker, Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger. He has every player on the whole roster. I would love if Elon would show up and buy our damn team.
If there was a cap, do you think $400 million is fair? The Dodgers spent $350 million this year.
I'll say this. Here's what I'll say about it. If you want to spend more than $350 million, I'm going to tax you. That said, you shouldn't be losing any draft picks. You're drafting at the bottom of the first round. Your perception is that these teams spending $350 million. We've seen the Mets not win, spending a lot of money, so it's not a guarantee. But if the Yankees go out and spend $330 million, we've seen them do that before. They spend that amount of money, and you take away their first round pick. They're picking 30th. Who cares?
Exactly.
You're taking that pick is ridiculous. And that pick, by the way, won't even be applicable to the big league roster for 5 years from now. And it doesn't help Major League Baseball when the major markets aren't in the big games. So we need to probably do a lot less to try and force these major markets. They're trying to force these major markets to battle it out with Pittsburgh. No. Just force Pittsburgh to spend money. I think that's the solution to Major League Baseball's problem. People are basically waiting on the Dodgers and the Yankees, Mets, waiting on a few of these teams, the Padres and the Phillies, the same teams to be in the mix. And the Dodgers probably win it because they do all the extra stuff well on top of it. Yeah, what's up?
This is absolutely insane. The Chicago White Sox, at the end of the year, their active 26-man roster, $17.5 million.
Marcus Stroman made more money than the entire Chicago White Sox roster.
And you want to tell me that's not a problem?
And they're talking about teams buying championships. It bothers you. It bothers you more that the Dodgers, who spent the amount of money that they spent this offseason, right? Mm-hmm. And Dodgers fans were elated, making a bunch of graphics. I mean, they're the ones doing the majority of the clicking on social media. Yankees, Dodgers, same fan bases.
Yeah.
They're going to go to the World Series, more than likely. They're up 3-0. Go to the World Series. Ohtani is going to win, potentially, back-to-back championships, right? They're going to get all that merchandise, all that exposure. And it's that right there is worse for the league than an entire organization in the Chicago White Sox being paid $17.5 million.
That's hilarious.
And simultaneously, Jake, here's the funniest part, begging for a new stadium. Get out of town. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and obviously I know they had $41 million of injuries, but at the same time, the fact that it ever got to 17, put it this way, the Yankees had plenty of injuries. They're at $198 million. You know, the Dodgers had plenty of injuries. They're at $268 million of active, right? I think really what we're looking at here is stop focusing so much on what the cap is and start focusing on the floor. Because guess what? The issue right now with baseball, and it's not hard to see, we are doing an off-season. Free agency doesn't start until December. We are currently doing an off-season episode of Yankees Unloaded. There are no games tomorrow, the next day. And we have 335 people watching, which is insane. Because Gary and I had no idea what was going to show up. We're still going to be consistent. We're going to go live as long as we can. 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday. Do all the same things. These are going to hopefully be shorter shows. This was going to be a shorter show, but obviously we kept going and you guys kept going. But the point being is baseball is in the best shape if they start getting more Yankees Unloaded type shows. If you have Red Sox and the Tigers and you got the Reds, now all of a sudden the Pirates. The problem, Gary, is how can you fault a fan base for not wanting to go crazy for the Pirates when they come into the season and they're starting the season off with, 84 million tops in payroll?
And sometimes, Jake, they will go out there and give it a fighter's chance. We saw, right? You'll see teams like the Nationals, right? Teams that don't have major fan bases. They'll go out there and they'll get up there. Do you know what those fans already know? Oh, Bryce Harper, we get up to the National League Championship Series. Yeah, we're not going to re-sign this guy. They send him away. Free agent.
Sucks.
Juan Soto, oh no, we're going to let Harper go. The next big thing for you guys, we're just the little guy. We can't afford Harper. We can afford Juan Soto. He's younger. He's more energetic. He's a salesman. Oh, we're going to trade him to the Padres. Yep. Send him away. So there's not really any reason for a Pirates fan or for a Reds fan to really give a crap that Ellie De La Cruz can go out there and be electric for a day, because guess what? Ellie De La Cruz won't be there. Not going to be there. He's going to be on the free agency list, and teams like the Dodgers and the Mets and the Red Sox are all going to bark and say, we're going to get him, and Photoshop his jersey on them. And the off chance, there's an off chance here, that player may be fooled because he has an inexperienced agent, and his agent agrees to tell the player, yeah, we'll sign that early contract, what you saw from Bobby Witt Jr.
Yep.
That's the only chance you have of keeping a star in a location like that. In this sport, because there's no salary floor, there's no reason at all to pay any player unless you actually have if you have a repeated expectation to win championships. But other than that, you should just have a player who's about to become a free agent, send him away. Like the Angels should have traded Ohtani a year and a half before he became a free agent. They would have reloaded with every prospect known to man, and you rinse and repeat. One or two of those players would become really good players. 5 years down the road, when they become too expensive, you trade them too. That's what these teams are trying to do. It's gross.
It is gross. It absolutely is. If there was a floor, if there was a cap, then I think $400 million is fine. If there's a floor, then 150. If you want to do 375 and 125 for the floor, fine. But there has to be a floor, because the reality is, if you want the sport to continue to grow, it needs parity. You see in the NFL right now, no one knows who's good. No one. It is the most wide open season I think I've ever seen all my years.
Who is good in the NFL?
I mean, the Bills aren't good. My
Eagles aren't good.
Don't look great. I mean, the Jaguars are 4-2. Like, just when you thought the Steelers were legit, they're losing by 10 right now to the Bengals. They're 4-1. We have no idea. The point being is parity is huge. It's been huge in the NBA. Now, here's the difference, is that the NBA has forced it on us because now they have everybody making the playoffs except for 4 teams. Idiotic. But parity is so important, and they don't need to force us with the 3, expanding the wild card and all that. What they need to do, and this would do wonders, is force these teams to spend $150 million at least. If you're telling me that now Miami has to spend $150 million, guess what? Now their fan base gets crazy because now they're like, oh, we get to spend, 80, 90 million? Or like, that's huge, right?
Kind of reminds me of the Pujols, Jose Reyes offseason, where they'd go out there and actually hopefully spend. Marion would be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and
I'd have to imagine.
I understand it wouldn't be great for the Yankees, but now Paul Skeens gets to stay with Pittsburgh because now they actually have to spend. They're more likely to sign their guy and give him what he's actually worth. That's better for baseball, in my opinion. I don't know how long they can stick around with 18 to team 30. That's 12 teams. 12 teams in this league spending under $140 million a year. That is absolutely insane. And you're getting fan bases that are jealous of all these spending, and then they're out of baseball. Now football season started, basketball season started, hockey season started. They're out of it. If you want this sport to grow, if Rob Manfred is serious, then a salary cap floor is actually going to be your best bet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would definitely imagine that when you come up with a floor, the owners are going to see that as that's a major downer. What are you giving us? Because keep in mind, guys, whatever you want in the new CBA, there's give and take. You're going to give us a floor. We hate that. What are you giving us? It may look something like no deferred contracts. It may look something like no contracts north of 10 years. It may be contracts nowhere north of 8 years. And again, I'm not telling you this will happen, but this is how it works. The players have to surrender something. You don't just simply gain, right? Oh, look, the Marlins have $80 million that they're forced to spend out into the market. The players win, and there's no way for the owners to win. So you have to come up with how that's going to work. Tate, really appreciate the 10, our final super chat, and we will, guys, get to our voicemail. I believe we have one voicemail. I'm not sure if any new ones have come up, but Tate with the 10 says, unfortunately, we can talk to her blue in the face. My God, is this so true? About the same easy targets on this team, obviously being Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone. The old lore of the 90s, early 2000s is no more. This is systemic in the organization. Couldn't agree more. Could
Absolutely.
not. And there's nothing we can do about it.
And, the only way to cure it is to literally just remove it. And they
drain the pool.
Yeah. They don't want to do it.
Drain the swamp.
Drain the damn swamp. Good Lord. All right. Well, on that note.
Thank you, Tate.
Thank you, Tate. Let's get to the voicemails, your favorite part of the show. All right. Ninja Hot Dog. This voicemail, I don't know if Ninja Hot Dog won extra credit or something, but 8:40 p.m. on Wednesday, October 15th. So Ninja came ready to go. Way ahead.
What is up? I'm pretty sure there's going to be stream tonight, so here I am. The biggest pieces of news I can think of right now are that Cody Bellinger has optioned out, and so I believe that we should try to get him back. However, we could also, it's between him and Tucker. At the moment, we could also just let him walk and use Dominguez, but I think that that's more of a gamble, and right now we should not gamble as much with this team that we got going. So I would say currently get either Bellinger or Tucker and go from there. And then second, Volpe is getting surgery. Now, I know that the organization is going to be all like, if he recovers well, they'll be like, he recovered well, he'll be right back to 2024 form. And right now, I think he should not be on the team at all. Because even when he was playing in 2024, like, yeah, his fielding was good, but you're still not hitting. And what we're lacking right now is reliable hitting. Like last year, we were better in many ways, but we still had like that 30-inning stretch where we didn't score any runs. And the Blue Jays bullpen the Blue Jays rotation and bullpen completely made a mockery out of us. So Volpe can't come back. It's time for a new shortstop, maybe Caballero, maybe someone completely new. Let's see how it goes. Fire Baboon.
You're not getting that, Ninja. Unfortunately, I listened to the Michael K show then this morning. I'm not sure when it came out, but I listened to it this morning. And Michael K, Jake, was talking about, he's like, guys, I told you that you guys can say till you're blue in the face of Boone and Cashman, but they're not going anywhere. I don't really think many people thought they were going anywhere. I'm not sure what you said because I didn't want to quote you, Jake, but you said if we don't get to a World Series, you would fire Boone. And I said that, I mean, I would do the same thing, but I don't think there's anything that could happen, anything at all, that would change the outcome of where these two are going, which is nowhere. So, yeah, Ninja, I'm sorry to tell you the news, but there's a ton of ways the Yankees could be creative. I'm just not sure if we have the right people in the room to trust them being creative, given the situation we're in, which is really a win-now situation for a team who hasn't won now in 16 years. So we'll see what they do this winter. We'll cover all of it. Jake, we did just record a video of the 5 players. And again, this is not 5 players that we're saying should be number 1 on the list. These are 5 players. We both came up with our own list of a realistic offseason to get all 5 of those players. So we keep in mind a ridiculous budget that exists with this organization. They refuse to go past $310 million. They have roughly $75 million to spend currently as the arbitration's expected to hit. Anthony Volpe is expected back. They project those numbers at $3-4 million. All of those numbers are calculated in. So guys, if you want to come up with your free agency list, annually, you can add about $75 million. Cody Bellinger made $26 million this year. Kyle Tucker's expected to make roughly $40 million next year annually. So come up with those lists. We can't wait for you guys to watch that video. Jake, did we have any other voicemails?
Yes, we have 2 more. Kyle Malay and Vulnera Medicus, a.k.a. Ricky.
Beautiful.
Hey, guys. Kyle Malay here. How stupid do the Yankees actually think we are?
Very.
Like, do they think we're incompetent? Like,
off-season buzz.
All the stuff they said in the press conference today, we knew they were going to say it. And Rodon, that surprised me about him getting surgery. He's not going to be ready for the season to be opening. Volpe, he's not going to be ready, but who fucking cares? I don't care about Volpe. We need to go get Volpe. But that's not going to happen because the Yankees are an incompetent organization right now. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Nothing's gonna change until Cashman or Boone is gone. And what the fuck is Hal? Like, Hal couldn't attend the press conference today and like.
I agree with
face the
that.
fans.
Where was Hal?
He's a frickin'
Completely
pussy.
agree.
That's why. Sorry for my language. Sorry for that. But he doesn't care. Like, he just needs to sell the team, get some new ownership in here that actually cares about winning, and yeah, let's go win a World Series. Like, he doesn't care. He's got his ring from 2009. He's happy with that. And yeah, let's go Yankees. Do something in the offseason to get this team better, because we need more people. Because half of our team is going to be out with surgery, it looks like. Because who knows in the next coming days? They might say that half the team is getting surgery. But, yeah, let's all have a good night. And you guys are doing a good show, and I'm watching it right now. All right, have a good day.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks,
Buzz
Kyle.
Lightyear, aka. Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything that you said, we echo.
Agree on Hal, by the way. He should have been there.
I love that he said that. It felt off that he wasn't there.
I mean, where the hell could he have been?
So the owner
You're
doesn't
Del
have to
Frisco's?
speak
Where are
up
you?
after the season? I don't know.
I've seen the Red Sox win 75 games, and John Henry was there. Where the hell are you?
Yeah.
You with the team won 94 games. You're out there receiving. You're selling chicken buckets. You're selling beer. All that stuff's out on time and open. All the gates are open on time. Where are you? You're the one who
don't
benefits
get me started,
from all
man.
this.
They were selling chicken buckets during that rain out. Nothing like driving 3 hours to the
And I'm
stadium
fine.
and being told, yeah, we're done.
Yeah, I'm fine with, I guess, you not caring, but at least you can have the nerve to put out, like, project that you at least give a rip at all. I do think that's part of the gig. To own a team, you need to project that you care about this product and not showing up. I don't know. If I had a job interview, I think the first thing you probably want to do is show up to the interview, right? It does
Yeah.
show you care.
You would
being there
think.
on time, but obviously he had better things to be doing today. Unfortunate.
That is true. All right, last but not least, Ricky.
Hey, boys, it's Ricky. It's all that you guys are alive. Just want to see what you guys saw. It's been a week. It feels like I'm getting over it. But how do you guys feel about Rodon possibly missing and Cole possibly going to be out the first 2 months? Maybe Rodon back sooner. I think Clark's going to be back midway through the season. It's either of these guys, if we trade for somebody, or I don't know if they're just going to let it ride with, I don't know, Max Fried, Slittler, Hill, Will, and then Rodriguez Cruz, or they sign just like a 5 guy. I don't know. What do you guys think? And what do you guys think about the Ben Rice rumors? I know we're probably not going to get rid of him, but like, say if we do need someone to get us by for 2 months, and I don't know. Remember the last time Rodon missed spring training? Just going to leave that there. See you, boys.
That's a good
I
point.
had it pulled up already.
That's a good point. That was a nightmare of a year for him.
2023, which was the year that we also had the same mentality, because keep in mind, right, Blake Snell was a late signing, was missing spring training, and eventually we said that we should just take that risk. But in previous years, that 2023 year that our caller has just mentioned, Carlos Rodon had an injury right there at the beginning of spring training, wasn't ready until right there near opening day. He was horrible. ERA of 6.85, was basically a non-starter. He was useless the whole season, and we were sitting there thinking we had Patrick Corbin on our hands. And fortunately, that's not what it ended up being. He pitched really well this year, absent of October. But the point being is when you look up and you see that Rodon is dealing with an injury to the point where he needs a little cleanup, right? And bone spur. He's going to be ready for the most part of 2026. But there's a reason spring training is as long as it is, and there's a rev-up process to that. And when you're dealing with injuries at the beginning of the year, you don't get that same rev-up. you essentially say, all right, I feel like I'm ready. I've been jogging on the field. I've been playing catch. They just send you to the minor leagues and you just start pitching. So it won't be the same rev up process. It'll be, obviously in a different location, completely new. It's not what you want. So
It's not what you want.
It's not what you want, but we're forced in this situation. The Yankees don't really have enough in the room where this won't be a problem. Rodon has to pitch well, and we just have to hope that him missing this time in spring training doesn't affect him.
Is this a blessing in disguise for them potentially stepping on their own toes with ERC? Like, now you can't really argue. I mean, he has a wide open runway to get into the rotation.
I mean, you can call it a blessing in disguise. From a regular season standpoint, you could. In the postseason, the Yankees still are just massively short in big game starters.
They are.
Cam Schlittler is the one guy you can say is a big game starter for the Yankees. Outside of that, they don't have a single name that you would trust, and Garrett Cole's included in that because he's coming off Tommy John surgery. If he wasn't, he would be the second guy you very clearly trust. But they don't have that. They have Cole off injury. They have Fried, who was atrocious in Atlanta and in New York in big games. And Rodon hasn't been good for us in big games. I mean, you can look at his numbers yourself. In 2025, he was not good in big games for the Yankees in regular season or postseason. So, Jake, yes, from an ERC standpoint, in terms of getting the most value out of that asset, I would agree. If you're high on ERC, this is the best way from a technical standpoint. It's not the way you want him to get on the field, but it's the same thing that would happen with Cam Schlittler, isn't it? Clark Schmitz goes down. All of a sudden, the room thins out. Who are we going to call up? Is it going to be ERC? A lot of people in our comments said it should have been. And it ended up being Cam Schlittler. He's now essentially our ace. So
yeah,
maybe you're right.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, the good news is that the Yankees are kind of equipped to handle this because they have so much depth in their bullpen, or not the bullpen, their farm system.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if LaGrange is even close to, he has enough control to start, but, I mean, he looks really good, and obviously ERC, and, I mean, we'll see. There are some other guys as well, Cunningham and Hess. I mean, Ben Hess, when they drafted him, we talked about this. He had a really high floor. Like, that was the thing, is that, like, okay, he's going to be in the major leagues not long after being drafted. And Cunningham was kind of cut from the same cloth. Then, you have Chase. Oh, my God, I'm blanking on his name.
Well,
you almost say Chase Headley?
No, I almost said Chase Hampton.
Oh, it is Chase Hampton, yeah.
There you go.
Chase Hampton, no idea what to make of him. He's had some serious injuries. Brendan Beck is another one. So, yeah, I mean, there are guys, there are options. These guys are all going to get opportunities. It's honestly, I'm really hoping we could do that Tampa meetup, for spring training, because I'll tell you right now, this is going to be fun to watch with all these pitchers. They're really going to get a shot. This thing's wide open, Gary. This is absolutely wide open. I would not be surprised if they like two guys enough that they're in the starting rotation and they move Heel to the bullpen. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade one of these guys, right? Think about this. It creates an opportunity if all of a sudden in, March, and you're seeing ERC looks great, and everyone knows, like, oh, shit, this guy is absolutely going to start. And then you have LaGrange or somebody like that. And then all of a sudden, it's like, we like Heel, but do we like Heel? And this goes back to what I was saying off air to you when we were talking about the previous episode that we did, and that you guys will see tomorrow. Teams shouldn't just go out and find what, like, oh, yeah, that's good for what's out there. No, you should be falling in love with your investments. And if you like Heel, but you love ERC, and let's say the only way for ERC to play is to trade Heel, then you should probably move Heel, or you should move him to the bullpen. Same thing.
Because they look
with
at
Warren.
that of trading a player is that player just has no fit in the organization at all. That's the way people perceive it, right? In that voicemail, people are asking, and I'm sure you saw the reports, is that the name that is other teams are having most interest in is Ben Rice. Now they see a guy who's going to clearly play first base, Catcher is a position where guys get banged up. When you have a guy who's young, he's controllable, he's at a corner position, there's a ton of value there. And for a lot of these teams, there's nothing more valuable, especially to teams that don't want to spend money, than young, controllable assets who can perform. That's the best thing possible. You can't own anything better than that. But to the major markets, a lot of these teams would rather have, and this is ridiculous that I'm saying this, but it's true. Teams like the A's, teams like Pittsburgh, they would rather have Ben Rice than Freddie Freeman. They would rather spend $800,000, get the production you're getting out of Ben Rice for the next 4 to 5 seasons, go through arbitration, give him $6 to $7 million. They would rather do that than spend $30 million and get Hall of Fame production. I'm just telling you guys how this works. So would I trade Ben Rice? In a blanket statement, no. But what am I getting for Ben Rice? If I'm trading a Ben Rice, and Jake, you and I both are very high on this player, we better be talking about a Paul Skeens-like player. Is it going to be a straight up trade? No. But I need to be getting electricity walking through the building. Ben Rice is a major solution to what the Yankees have as problems. Hitting the ball more often, hitting for average, right? Hitting for contact. He does those things. So he's part of the solution. If you were to trade him, and I don't have a problem with other teams having interest in him, that's a good thing. Yeah. That means the Yankees should, in theory, have a ton of options this winter to do something with him if they so choose. Now, you don't have to, but if all of a sudden Pittsburgh says, yeah, we'll open a conversation, or Minnesota says, yeah, we'll open a conversation for a Joe Ryan, now you maybe open up that door and you replace that player that you've lost in a Rice with maybe a free agent, a Josh Naylor, whoever else. But you guys see the picture. So lots in store for the Yankees in free agency. Jake, I believe that was it, right, for our voicemails?
Yeah, that's it, and that's the end of the show. Because if we don't leave now, we're literally going to be doing a 2-hour stream in the off season before free agency. So
you almost had it. You said 30 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting better. No, Gone with the Wind this time.
No. But what do you want them to drop in the comments, by the way?
Gone with the Wind.
No, how about this? Drop in the comment section. Again, guys, if it were my team and budget's not an issue, it shouldn't be our issue, but it clearly is. They're going to spend roughly $300 million. You've got $75 million per year to add onto the 2026 roster. Drop in the comments the first 5 players you would add to this year's Yankees team. Is it Cody Bellinger and Kyle Tucker and hardly anything after that? Is it Cody Bellinger and then a bunch of starting pitching? Tell us what you would do with Hal Steinbrenner's money. Drop that in the comment section. Make sure you guys subscribe to Yankees Unloaded. If you haven't yet, hit the bell icon. It should notify you already. It doesn't. Make sure you hit the bell. It will do that. And make sure, again, guys, you like this video. Jake, anything else?
Shout out to my Aunt Jody.
Oh, what's up? Gone with the Wind is a great book and movie.
That is how long our last episode was, Aunt Jody.
It was unbelievable.
It was insane. It was, 3 hours and 42 minutes?
I hopped in bed. My wife was like, where the hell have you been? I said, I've been podcasting. I'm beat.
Hey, to be fair, that was like the finale, right? That was the finale of the season. We had to do it right. But no, all jokes aside, put the top 5 in the bottom, guys that you want the Yankees to go after. And is it $75 million?
It is roughly $75 million, give or take, because you've mentioned before, you talked about it pre-show. It's not exact science, right? This is projectability in terms of the arbitration. That's including Volpe resigning, right? They're expecting to do that. A lot of these players resigning to the arbitration deals, and they average those out. You have $75 million to play with. Drop in what you would do with the money, and please don't drop in Tucker, Bellinger, King. It can't work. You got to come up with some projections of how much annually those players are going to be making, because they're not coming cheap. So keep that in mind.
No. Last thing I want to say is, guys, we are pivoting, in case you're new here and you're just joining, whatever. We are pivoting to our off-season coverage. So videos will be happening more frequently, but we're also going to try and keep this weekly live stream. It's going to be weekly. It's not going to be daily because you don't want us to go daily. I don't care what anyone says. if you want us to continue to complain about Brian Cashman and how, okay, I guess you could want us to go daily. We're not going to do that, though. We're going to try and keep the same time, keep it like a TV show every Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, unless otherwise told on our, socials or whatever. That is going to be the time, but we do appreciate you guys. We had over 24,000, okay? 24,000 views in our last episode. So we really do appreciate you. We see it all the time. We see all the support. We see the tweets. We see the tags. We really appreciate you guys for following us. So we're going to do our best to continue to give you the type of content, just essentially the quality that we've been kind of just trying to dish out. So we're excited for you guys to check out our video tomorrow, top 5 of our own Yankee free agent acquisitions. But yeah, that's going to do it. Look out for it tomorrow. It'll be right around dinner time tomorrow, East Coast. And be sure to tell somebody about Yankees Unloaded. If you have a Yankee fan in your life that hasn't checked us out, well, now's your time to tell them about us. That's going to do it.
Yeah, and if anything ever happens with the Yankees, if we make any signings, anything crazy, we'll definitely cover it. We'll hop in, maybe do a live. We'll play it by ear, but we have to imagine the Yankees are going to be pretty conservative until the winter meetings, which we're going to try and cover for you guys. We're absolutely intent on being there, so make sure you guys like this video.